If you guessed Jerry Mahoney, you would be right. Yep, the next to my oldest ventriloquist figures is another Jerry Mahoney. This one is a Jerry from the 1960s. The way you can tell that is because the suit, for one thing, they decided to change up the colors. Originally, the suit on the one I just showed you, how he's got kind of a reddish color and the pink, not pink, a pinkish reddish color and the green lapels, or lapels, whatever. Originally, when he was produced, that suit would have been gray with the green, accents to it. Over time, Jiro decided that they were going to switch over to a mostly green outfit. Excuse me. And another way you can tell with the 1960s Jerry's is just, unfortunately, Jiro Novelty Company switched over to a different kind of plastic for the heads, and they just don't really hold their shape very well over the years. And of course, their quality control just kind of fell off pretty hard. Thus the reason why this Jerry looks like he's kind of scared. Like, what? Like he's been startled by something. Another great way to tell the 60s Jerrys from the 50s are the hands. Again, these were still being produced by the Jiro Novelty Company. And I forgot to mention something about the other Jerry. The body is actually made out of cardboard. A nice, sturdy, thick cardboard, but cardboard nonetheless. And unfortunately, as you can tell, because his mouth just keeps slipping forward, this guy's not in such great shape. When I first got him, I believe he also had the issue of like one of his arms was coming off. And I think I figured out why it is that the Jerrys that I've picked up have had that issue. Because in the Paul Winchell Jerry Mahoney show, there were times where Paul would get frustrated with Jerry and he would like grab him by the arm and go like, "Now come here, Jerry," like yank on him. And I just think over the years that people, imitating what Paul was doing has just, worn out the stitching a little bit. Thankfully, on the ones I've had so far, it's been an easy fix, just a couple stitches, just pull it up tight like the toy cleaner from Toy Story 2 when he's reattaching Woody's arm. Just stitch here, stitch there, and then and the arm is back in place where it needs to be. And another way to tell, unfortunately, I don't have a 60s Jerry with the original shoes, but as I kind of alluded to before, they switched over to a plastic shoe at some point. Now with this Jerry, like I said before, he was in really rough shape. He's still, actually still kind of is pretty rough. But thankfully he cleaned up pretty well, and I was able to get him looking somewhat decent again. Someone even took it upon themselves that after his tag that was over his pocket came off, the one I was telling you about with the other one, Paul Winchell's Jerry Mahoney, they actually went ahead and they put Jerry's name on there, stitched it in by hand, and I think that's actually kind of a neat thing, which is the reason why I haven't taken a seam ripper to it and tried to make him look more original. It adds character to him. It shows that someone actually played with and loved this toy. And by the way, yes, all these ones I've showed you so far are toy ventriloquist figures. I don't, at this point, own a professional one because they are too expensive, and I cannot afford that. You probably won't be able to afford that for a good long time. Another problem with this particular Jerry is that his head stick, if you notice there's glue right there around the base, keeps wanting to fall off. And when I originally got him, I didn't realize that that was a thing, and while I was messing around with him, it did in fact wiggle completely off like that. But thankfully, it's a fairly easy thing to get it back in. You just line it back up with the hole, make sure the string for the mouth isn't in the way, and just wiggle, 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 pop, and just slot it back where it needs to be. So, there you go. Yeah, I need to get this guy fixed. And the other big problem with him is apparently the person who owned him before me. The mouth, like I said, the heads on these later ones kind of deform a little bit because the plastic was changed. and that makes it so that the mouths get kind of locked in place. And the person who owned this Jerry before me, if you notice how the line here for the mouth is very kind of like Nike swoosh-ish right there, they tried to cut the mouth open again, and they did not do a great job. Like you see over here, that's about where the original slot for the mouth would have stopped, right there. But anyway, I'm focusing too much on this particular Jerry. I lovingly refer to him as Jerry because he's got kind of like that sling blade, you know, his mouth kind of doesn't quite sit right in his head. You know, like that. So, yeah, that's been my first 1960s Jerry Mahoney. Oh, I almost forgot. When I originally got him, he had his original suit, which is unfortunately missing the dicky, but he also came with an outfit that someone in the past had purchased and adjusted for him. I'm guessing this was a kind of Christmas outfit, but he had a nice little... Here, let me just take his head off for a minute and set him aside. Just the way he's sitting on my lap right now, I'm afraid as I'm showing this off, he's going to fall and break. These are very old toys, you know. So on the floor with you, and your body too. But he also came with a second outfit. He came with this little sweatshirt that's got trains on it. Yeah, it's the right way around. It's got a nice little choo-choo train thing going around the top, and someone cut a big hole in the back of it so they could, you know, stick their hand in and they could work Jerry while he was dressed up for Christmas. He had a nice little undershirt, nice little button-up undershirt with a deer on it, which is another thing that leads me to believe that this was a Christmas type outfit for him. And he had a homemade pair of slacks, I guess you'd call them. They've got the original, oh, I can't think of what it's called. We'll just call it the waistband that someone sewed in for him. And it's still kind of got some stretch to it. That has been Jerry Mahoney, as I like to refer to him to. Now we'll move on to the next oldest puppet in my collection, and you'll never guess who this is. That's right. It's another Jerry Mahoney. This is another of the 1960s Jerry Mahonies, and this one is actually the best condition one I have to date. He still has his original little shirt label right there, which unfortunately I was an idiot and put his outfit through the washer. That label was originally just like perfect, brand new, like he just came out of the box. But unfortunately, as you can see, going through the washer took a little bit of a toll on it. It's a bit more frayed than it was originally, and Paul's a little washed out there on the end. But what can you do? The reason why I did that is because when I first picked up this particular figure, he reeked to the high heavens. It was like they put him in an attic filled with mothballs and... ugh. As a matter of fact, he's still got a little bit of a funk to him. He's very... well, okay, thankfully he's not as musty, but he's still kind of musty. But yeah, I did everything I could in my power to try and get rid of that musty smell. Went online and I looked it up, and after putting his outfit through the washer 2 or 3 different times, it's still a little pungent. Thankfully it's not as bad as it was, like I said. He still has his original shoes, and this is at the point before they switched over to the plastic shoes, and I don't know if those socks are original, but he's got them. He has his all original face paint. I haven't touched anything up on him or any of my other figures, aside from Chappie putting a little bit of paint on his lips. He's got the original Dickie with the original bow tie. And like I said, the full original outfit. And this is basically what Jerry Mahoney's outfit would have looked like back in the day if it weren't, you know, hadn't been washed so many times and hadn't faded the way that it did. Sorry, it's like I said, he's a bit funky, as is his box back here. I said that, funky. funny. Sorry, the smell is kind of throwing me off a bit. Like I said, I haven't actually said this yet, but I say lovingly refer to him as Stinky Mahoney because, well, he stinks. And when I got him, this is actually one of my most recent Jerry Mahonies. This is my second most recent. You'll see the most recent. And as a matter of fact, if you click in that link up here above Jerry's head, you'll see what my most recent Jerry was, and I was very happy to get him. But anyway, this one came with the original box, the full original outfit, with the shoes, and like I said, I think the socks are an original addition to him. The mouth still works, although when I first got him, he had the same issue that other Jerry, Jerry Mahoney had, where his head had warped a bit and made it so that his mouth did not actually move. So I'm going to let y'all know right now, I did damage this puppet a little bit. I made an adjustment to the mouth. It's very slight, but if you look, you can kind of see how he's got a bit more. Here, let me just put his legs down for a minute. You can kind of see right here in the middle how it like dips down a little more. I took an X-Acto knife and I just kind of chipped away at that until it looked fairly even, and till he could actually move his mouth again. Because like I said, when I first got him, the mouth was completely locked up. I couldn't even get it to go like this far right here. And for whatever reason, the person I bought this from off of Facebook Marketplace had taken his jaw and kind of shoved it up into his face. I think they were just trying to realign it in a way that he would actually still be able to go like wow, 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 like they do. He was missing the pamphlet when I got him, and his bow tie has just a little bit of a problem there. You can kind of see that it's like hanging off of his dicky like that. Also, his string for working the mouth is the cleanest of the four of these guys. My first Jerry, I haven't changed the string. I should. But that string is about as brown as this moose over here. It needs replaced bad. But I'm not exactly sure how to do that, and I don't want to break him, so I left it as it is. Moving on to the next puppet, the next newest figure. And interestingly, I got that figure with this one in the same purchase. So, be right back.